Good afternoon. Welcome to Business as Usual. This is Audrey Russo. I'm President and CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and I'm joined today with Jonathan Kirsting, who's Vice President of Visibility and all things media for the tech community. And we are very thrilled to be here with our fantastic crew, lots of updates. So please hold on to your seatbelts. I think you're going to find some really interesting and positive things that occur in today's session. So first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to our friends at Huntington Bank. They stepped up and sponsored the series. They are very active in the small business community, and they have been very active during these last few months in terms of COVID, and they are one of the largest lenders in southwestern Pennsylvania. So just a little bit of a highlight for the next couple of days. We will be joined tomorrow by Dr. Kelly Hunt. She's District Director of the U.S. Small Business Administration. She's going to outline some of the changes that Congress has recently passed to improve the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. Next week, we also are very excited to host John Thornton. He's the CEO of Astrobotics. He's going to talk about the privatization of space exploration and what that means for Pittsburgh. It's just nonstop. We also will be joined by Jerome Bettis next week. He's going to be talking about the work of the Bus Stops Here Foundation. So as you can see, we're trying to continue to accelerate the conversations and the connectivity and look at all opportunities for public and private partnerships to move the agenda forward. So we've muted all of your microphones. That's because we don't want to hear any background noise. And we also want to make sure that you can hear our guests. And on top of that, we have a chat that's at the bottom of the screen. You will be able to provide any questions that you have. We will hope to get through your questions, but do not use this as an opportunity for us to sell. This is not what this is about. So this is really about education, collaboration, and commitment. So today we are going to jump right in. We're joined by several special guests, which include Presley Gillespie. He's the president of Neighborhood Allies, Dr. Anthony Hamlet, superintendent of the Pittsburgh Public Schools, and Lisa Birmingham, vice president for external and government relations for Comcast. But we are going to start with Neighborhood Allies. And we're going to start, I want to just set the table really quickly. We're going to talk about the work that Neighborhood Allies started a few months ago. It's hard to believe that it's just whipped by, with the strong support from the region's technology sector, in particular from the team at Aurora, but many others as well. The digital divide issue is real across America and across our region. And this work is something that our team has been very, very proud to support in our own little way, but the big work comes from the people who are here today. So we have Vanessa Bruffrey. She is with us this afternoon, and she works for Presley at Neighborhood Allies. And I think she is going to kick off by giving us a status report on the current project. So please bring on Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you so much, Audrey, and thank you to everyone in the audience who has been our supporters since March, a decade ago. We started this fall with a demand for about 8,000 computers from Pittsburgh Public Schools, and that was in the shadow of 75,000 households without devices in Allegheny County. We first swung at 1,000 laptops, and then with support from champions like Aurora, we aimed even higher. So to date, we've raised nearly 400,000 from foundations, corporations, and individual supporters. And in addition to funds, we received over 500 devices from Highmark, Philips, Veolia, and Crown Castle. And on the other end, 75 people signed up in the midst of a pandemic to pick up, sanitize, and audit donated laptops before bringing them back again. So first of all, thank you so much for coming together as an entire city to help erase the digital divide. As far as devices are concerned, we're on track to activate over 1,600 laptops with the help of our partners at Computer Reach. You can see where they've gone on our online equipment dashboard at beyondthelaptops.org.
Wow.
Impressive work all the way around.
So it is really great. So I'm going to bring on Presley. So thank you so much. And there'll be a link to this that everyone can take their time to look at, and it's PGH Beyond the Laptops, and we'll put that in our chat as well. So now Presley Gillespie, thank you so much for being here. You have some additional news that you want to share today? Okay, we're gonna unmute Presley. And for some reason, sometimes that is an issue when we have someone that mutes themselves. Okay, so can we unmute Presley? Sometimes it takes us a few times to be able to do that. Okay, we're not able to do that for some reason. Oh, there we are. There we are. Thank you, Presley. Sometimes it takes like a magic 3.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Zoom. It's all good.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're really excited to be here, and I want to echo Vanessa and Audrey and thanking everyone for the tremendous support. We couldn't do any of this work alone. So in terms of who received devices, PPS, Pittsburgh Public Schools, had their own distribution process, which really identified a need based on age. On the other end, though, Neighborhood Allies, we aim to really fast track support to families that had no devices at all. And, here we were in the midst of a pandemic that had people literally locked down. Some of those families were, frankly, in complete blackout. They couldn't get news. They couldn't order groceries. They couldn't connect to coursework or schoolwork. They couldn't receive health services or really search for work at all. So digital access today is really as essential as a car or, a city bus, really remotely transporting all of us to these basic functions. And, entering COVID, many people on this call, had, nice cars. They were able to take care of families and really, live life. But some people were left without even a bike to ride. And so we knew this was really unacceptable before COVID, but I think, as a society, we felt we had time to continue to work on many of these issues. Now automation has really accelerated exponentially, and we really need to match our response with equal cadence. So our device drive quickly highlighted, other areas of need, connectivity and education, really to wrap it all together. So today we have very exciting news about closing the connectivity gap in the Pittsburgh Public School system, as well as what comes next.
Okay, so I am going to now bring on Lisa Birmingham. I introduced her earlier on the show. Lisa, can you talk about Internet, the essentials, and how Comcast has prioritized this initiative during the
Sure, great.
right now?
Can you hear me, Audrey?
Yes, perfectly.
Great. So thanks for asking, and thanks to the Tech Council for hosting these sessions. And just a quick shout out and a well-deserved shout out to Vanessa and Press and Neighborhood Allies for their leadership. I think what we're doing here is proving that public-private partnerships really can work. To the rising tide will raise all boats. And so from a Comcast perspective, we've been committed to digital equity and digital inclusion for years, whether it's standing up tech centers and or establishing Wi-Fi hotspots. And during these incredibly challenging times, COVID brought the digital divide into stark relief when our schools were forced to close and families and educators had to adjust. So Internet Essentials has been around for almost a decade now, and it's for low-income families. It originally was created for families with kids on school lunch, but now it's available to all low-income households. And during COVID, Comcast decided to offer 2 months of free service to any new Internet Essentials customer. We boosted the speed, so it's full broadband now. It's 25 megs, and we waived back balances. So we waived back balances so that it would make getting online as easy as possible for as many families. Excuse me. And sorry. So the other thing though, Internet Essentials was designed for individual customers. And so working with school districts like Pittsburgh Public Schools and nonprofit partners like Neighborhood Allies who want to pay for groups of students, sometimes entire schools, we've developed a mechanism to create that speed and accessibility for as many families as possible. And so why Internet Essentials? I want to go back to something Press said about using internet from a car. It is, kids learn better when they're in a comfortable place, frankly, when they're at home. And so Internet Essentials is designed for home use. And it comes and with the laptops and the connectivity and additional education, it really is the right formula to be as supportive as possible. We also serve all Pittsburgh neighborhoods. So, and we also have, for many of the businesses on the phone, I'm sure you guys can appreciate, we were ready with the back office operations to help stand up a project of this size. So we're thrilled to be a part of it. We're happy that the Pittsburgh Public School, we can connect more families. We've got roughly now 120,000 families in the Pittsburgh region connected, joining the internet through Internet Essentials, and roughly 8 million people nationwide. So we can't wait to continue the work.
So thank you, Lisa. I want to go back to Press really quickly. Presley, what really state what that announcement really is?
So what that really
means, Comcast.
Thank you, and thank you, Lisa. So what that really means is, you know, in order to tackle the second leg of our devices, connectivity, and education approach, we are really, as we say in Neighborhood Allies, jacked out of our minds
That's awesome.
That we will be covering the internet for all of the families identified by the Pittsburgh Public Schools Home Tech Survey who previously lacked broadband access.
Wow.
So 1,000 families will be hooked up to in-home high-speed internet access through Comcast Internet Essentials.
That is really great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that we did that. I want to now bring on Dr. Hamlet. So what does a connected district mean for the Pittsburgh Public Schools, and where do you think we're headed now on this piece of the journey?
I think, well, first of all, thank you for having me on, and thank you for having our team on as well. And thank you to all of you who supported Pittsburgh Public Schools and moving forward, going this, first starting off based on need for getting devices for our students, but also as we go to one-to-one and what that looks like. So I would say, number one, it's a brand new world when you go all digital. And of course, all of us know on this call that historically there's been a digital divide. And we had in mind in Pittsburgh Public Schools to move forward to one-to-one, but not this fast, honestly. But COVID has moved us in that direction, which is great for us and great for our students and the community as well. And so what this means is that those kids can, who did not have devices before, internet access, will have access to educating themselves and supports and interventions on a regular basis. And so now as we can extend learning from the school also into the evening to support our students and our most vulnerable students who need that support. So it's a game. We're excited about it, and we're looking forward to getting started in the fall around our one-to-one initiative.
So share about the partnership. How was it established? How did it begin? And what does it mean in your role in terms of public-private partnership?
So in the beginning, PPS, as a result of COVID, PPS set out trying to acquire devices to equip every student that had we did a home tech survey that revealed a lack of computers for our students. We had a great response from our families. I think about 89% of families actually responded, which gave us a great indicator and understanding what we needed to do and what families needed devices. So so I would say this also, and I'm sure you know this, this is not a Pittsburgh Public Schools issue. It's a national issue when it comes to getting devices to students in every district in the nation right now, because no organization, no company would think that a pandemic would shut us down like it has done. And so based on that, we began to respond, and we got the information we needed. We found out that Neighborhood Allies was activating refurbished devices in the local area from Computer Reach and from corporate donations. They had a stock we could access and sooner and cheaper than what we could get from the suppliers. So, which helped us chip away at our devices needs faster. there was a pool of devices that was there. They split the devices between PPS and also community organizations. And they made sure they did their due diligence to make sure that devices weren't given to parents or organizations, families twice. And so they had a great process in place, and we were just fortunate to find out about it and make this partnership. And as far as corporate and public school partnership, I think it's essential. I think it's definitely the wave of the future for nonprofits, philanthropic, but also for for-profit as well to pitch in, because ultimately your city is going to be dictated based on how well your school system is running and how you educate the younger citizens in the organization. So, and I think that's an issue for everyone in the city, every entity, every organization in the city. It should be important to support public education and private education as well, and charter school education, because ultimately all of those are our children in our city.
Right. That's absolutely right. I want to jump back to Presley. Presley, is the Beyond the Laptops initiative in this program, first of all, I don't remember what the original target is, but I remember it was not 400,000. So I'm absolutely thrilled to hear at that number. And I would imagine we want to continue to grow that. But is it just for the city schools?
So Beyond the Laptops really is digital equity for Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh, and even beyond into the region. You know, what we know is that communities, particularly communities of color and low-income communities, a lot of the things that we've seen are not working for those communities. So we believe that digital equity is a key ingredient to really expanding opportunity and reducing poverty. So that's why we know that we need to make sure that we move this even beyond just the school district. So, I'll be very candid. There are some neighborhoods that are worse off than others. The data shows that particular areas in the Hill District, Homewood, Hilltop, North Side need some additional help. So really our response was designed to work alongside PPS distribution by prioritizing those areas, quote unquote, burning the candle at the other end. But what I love about this internet intervention is that Internet Essentials is the internet for folks who have been, really left behind, and folks that have been, prioritizing food and shelter and really surviving over connectivity. Now all of those folks and more can grow. So what this is really about is how do we make sure that, we leverage these partnerships, leverage private and public capital, and really grow, wealth and opportunity for residents of the Pittsburgh's region's most vulnerable neighborhoods. So that's where we're headed, and we're just really excited about this start.
And so if you have a wish now and you want to guide us, what's next for this? What do you want to ask of all of us who are on this call and beyond?
Well, as an organization called Neighborhood Allies, I think we all have to act as neighbors. And we know that when neighbors come together, we can fight through these injustices. We know that we can fight through all of the tragic events that are occurring, not only in Pittsburgh, but in our nation. And we know that as we work together, neighbors will continue to really step up. That's what everyone on this call has done. That's what everyone that has been watching, all of our partners, all of our funders. And so I just would ask that we continue to think about what can we all do as neighbors. And we all really reevaluate how we operate in society, and not only move this initiative, but all of these collective initiatives forward as neighbors.
Well, you've gotten a lot of traction across the tech community in terms of this initiative, but we want to do more. So should we set a higher goal? Should we set a higher financial objective? What should we do for both to support Comcast leadership and the work at Neighborhood Allies?
Well, I think that's a great question. I appreciate that call to action. We're still moving forward with education and programming. We're going to have digital inclusion centers in neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. We're actively working on that. But what I would say is absolutely follow us and fund us at
Fund it. Mhm.
beyondthelaptops.org, beyondthelaptops.org. And that's a great way to stay connected with us and support us. And we absolutely need all of us working together.
So we raised over $400,000. You shared with us a beautiful link and all the information in terms of where they went. What would be a good number? I like to work off of a number. So in a short period of time, over a short period of time, Presley, you've been able to amass this amount of money. What could we double that?
Absolutely. I was thinking $1 million.
$1 million. Okay. So we're going to say $1 million.
We're on it.
We're going to thank Comcast. We're going to double the amount of penetration. I mean, because how many students and how many people are really left behind? I mean, do we know what that number is? I mean, Dr. Hamlet, do we know what that number is in terms of what our big need is? We've got this public-private conversation going on right now.
Right now, that number is outstanding at about 10,000. And what happens is that, I know the focus is on the students and making sure they get devices, but we also had to and couldn't assume that our faculty and staff had the appropriate devices at home.
Right.
Actually at home to actually educate the students. So we had to front load our teachers that were going to be educating our students via our online platform with those devices as well. And so as we look at that systemically, and also as you go to one-to-one, you still need a small, maybe 10% stockpile of computers for replacement or devices break. So that's why that number is still at 10,000 right now. Again, we're chipping away at it, and we will continue to reach our goal.
Well, then it sounds like we have a goal. Lisa, did you want to add something?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say it's really important. I think when we talk about digital inclusion, it's not just providing the laptop, the device, and the connectivity. Education is so important. Making people feel comfortable with the internet. I call it digital confidence is critical to our success. And I would just emphasize that, Neighborhood Allies, their three-legged stool is a great prototype. It's devices, connectivity, and education. I mean, that's how Internet Essentials is set up. We also provide digital literacy training with the same partner in Pittsburgh, Computer Reach. But I would just say that there's no silver bullet. And I would emphasize that these public-private partnerships are really what help us get ahead, make progress. There's just not one solution. And I would ask the folks that are listening, in addition to the 1 million, I would ask each of you, what can you do, right? Each one of us can do something. And there are a lot of wonderful partners, including Neighborhood Allies and Pittsburgh Public Schools, that are ready and waiting to figure out how can we do this together.
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree, Lisa. That's very, very well said. There is a question here about, is that 10,000 the total need in Pittsburgh Public School?
Yes, that's the total need in Pittsburgh Public Schools, yes, currently.
Okay. And so we've just made a small dent here. And I'm hearing that we want to reach $1 million with the intent of making that 10,000 equal 0. That's what our target is here. So I just want to do a quick reminder. And for those of you that might not know, we ran an experiment for about 7 days. And that experiment reached 130 or more school districts where we did STEM education just for 45 to 50 minutes. And we have a link that's out there that you can see what we've archived. And we gave 45 minutes to some of our leaders in tech to expose teachers and students moderated the panel to some of our tech companies here locally. And that was our way of just opening up the window. We knew that we needed to do a STEM summit. We knew that we wanted to make sure that the issues that Dr. Hamlet articulated are really accessible for teachers and for students. And we had like thousands of people that joined us. And we realized that was just the beginning. We just sort of opened the window so that people could see who's working on our vaccine, who's leading Facebook in terms of the work that they're doing here in Pittsburgh, who's running the company called Duolingo and how did they start that company? And so we are going to continue to chip away at that. But what's the most important thing is that people are educated, as Lisa said, and feel comfortable and have confidence in their own access to technology and have the tools, the best tools, not just the tools that are refurbished, but the best tools. And I think that's when Vanessa sort of led this with us, and Presley, we all said we really wanted to work on people having the best tools. And so I think pairing that for us has been really become a passion for us at the Tech Council and through our nonprofit. So I just can't thank you enough for the leadership and for this work, but it's only the beginning. So are there anything else that you think everyone who's listening on this call and anyone who downloads this, because we've archived it, should know? Because we just raised the bar. So thank you, Presley,
just
for
a little
raising the bar. Thank you, Lisa, for your leadership on Comcast, and Dr. Hamlet for being so candid on telling us what the need is and that this is not the end game. So are there final words that any of you want to have in terms of this? Presley, I know you had the baton the last.
Again, just not to repeat, building a more equitable and just city and region is really going to take all of us. And, access to technology, this is how we combat poverty. This is how we spark, economic growth and opportunity for those that need it the most. And so, it's going to take all of us. And I just continue to say, each and every day, every one of us has to step forward and help us get stronger and help us reimagine a brighter future. So I just remain jacked out of my mind about this.
And
Do we have, go on, Lisa. There's a question.
Audrey, I would just say if folks on the call want to have an open dialogue around how to solve for digital equity, what does it take to increase adoption, Lisa Birmingham, Lisa_Birmingham at cable.comcast.com. I'm happy to be a part of that conversation. We have a lot of great experience and we want to help.
Thank you for the work that you've done in stepping up.
And I just want to say thank you again to everyone that has supported the Pittsburgh Public Schools and everyone who will support Pittsburgh Public Schools in the future, moving forward with eradicating this digital divide. It's a game changer. We're excited about it, but also this shows what we can do as a school district, but also as a community of companies and organizations that come together to support change for our children. So thank you.
We care. Do you think one last question that you knew you couldn't escape, Dr. Hamlet? What do you think about school in the fall? What do you think about school in the fall?
Oh, so at that point, we've created about 4 committees that have about 2 or 3 subcommittees under those large committees. And those are dedicated to what school is going to look like in the fall. And just a little bit, really, really quick. So we have scenarios and guidelines that we get from the CDC and our state government. And just one of those guidelines says, as an example, students need to be 6 feet apart in the classroom. All of us have been in the classroom. We know how those desks are set up. And so as you imagine that, how can that look? So that being said, we're going to have various models. Number one, we definitely will have a full online synchronous platform in the fall. Why? Because even if we did go back brick and mortar full time, you will still have rolling closures of schools based on COVID exposure of employees or students. So you still need to have that. But also, some parents might not feel safe in bringing their students back to school in the fall, regardless if we have brick and mortar. So that option will be there. Then we will have a hybrid version where we'll bring kids back based on an A or B or C schedule 2 or 3 times a week or 2 times a week for every student. So we can make sure we meet those social distancing guidelines that are sent to us by the CDC and our state government. So we will be in school in some form of fashion.
All right, we are calling it a wrap.
One last announcement though, Audrey, one last announcement. We can't forget this. So we are cooking up something very special we're going to be announcing with Comcast to raise more money for neighborhood allies and the Beyond the Laptops. Has a little something to do with some storytelling, just saying, but that's going to be announced shortly and I'm very excited about it.
That's awesome. Well, first of all, thank you, Lisa, for your leadership at Comcast. Thank you, Presley, for your leadership at Neighborhood Allies. Thank you, Dr. Hamlet, for your leadership at Pittsburgh Public Schools. And I want to say, not only did we announce Comcast's additional investment into the city, we've raised the bar. We've on this call to $1 million.
Oh boy.
Okay, $1 million, 10,000 kids. Make sure everyone has brand new tools. Count on it. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow. And if you have any ideas or any questions, you know where to reach any of us. So thank you everyone for business as usual. Be safe and join us again tomorrow, same time, same place.
Thank you.